The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Travis Bard joins Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams to explore authentic self-leadership and business simplicity in real estate. Travis, a veteran real estate professional from Prescott, Arizona, shares insights on maintaining authenticity and using tools like Brivity to streamline real estate processes. This episode dives into strategies for maintaining a motivated team, building trust with clients, and leveraging consistent daily habits to create a sustainable real estate business. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast presented by Brivity.
Good morning. Chad Hyams.
Bob Stewart.
Bard.
Hello, gentlemen.
Travis, how you doing?
I'm outstanding. It's a beautiful day in Central Arizona. Always brightened up seeing you two fellas this morning.
Well, in honor of our visit with our friend in Arizona, Chad, it's sunny here in Seattle today.
Nice.
I think that the universe has aligned in a magical way for us, Mr. Bard.
It's always sunny in Florida, so not an issue.
So Chad and I can take credit for bringing sunshine to your world today, Bob. That's our story. We're sticking to it, right, Chad?
Love it.
It's true. Do me a favor.
I was going to say, I know you're going to have him introduce himself, but I got to say,
does.
Oh, before he even does that, what do you got?
I want to. What's the? Is that a donkey? Like, what's going on over your shoulder there? And so can you tell me what that is?
So our training or our goal setting last year, there was the mantra was we don't half-ass things around here. So I showed up a day later, and this was on my wall, and it says, "We don't half-ass things around here. We whole-ass it." So that's a donkey.
It's a whole donkey back there, not a half a donkey. Travis Bard, do me a favor. We already know that you're somewhere in Central Arizona, but will you introduce yourself to anybody watching now or later, and let them know like who you are and a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. So I'm Travis Bard, as it says on screen. I am located in the mountains of Arizona, about 100 miles northwest of Phoenix. The main reason is we're higher elevation and it's a lot cooler up here. I don't like desert heat. So we're up here about 20 degrees cooler than Phoenix. Population of our market area is about 120,000. And I've been in the real estate business for about 25 years in this market. And we have a team operating here. We have a team operating in the Phoenix metro area as well. I was trying to think the other day. I think I've been on Brivity for at least 8 years, as well as the other things, our connection with Place and that. But I know we're here talking about Brivity today, and that's something that we've worked really hard to integrate into our business to make our agents' lives easier, to make our admin, our TC, that whole system simpler and easier.
Bob, before you go with anything, he gave his bio, yet he left out the best part. Okay, and everybody needs a friend like this in their life. This guy's a true cowboy. Right? I'm surprised there's no hat.
I don't look like it today. Yep.
Yeah, you definitely don't have the cowboy. Everybody needs a friend in their life. Travis is mine. Everybody needs a friend in their life that was a cowboy at one point because they come with a different mindset. They understand work at a level I really don't believe anybody does truly in any other industry. So when we've been talking here about stuff like the discipline, the commitment, the running the ideal day there's no one who gets it like a cowboy gets it. So I'm excited to hear about the stuff we're going to share today with someone who's got the background Travis does.
Travis, if I lived down in Phoenix for 2 years, and my wife and I liked to go up to Prescott. It is the coolest downtown. Like, I feel like that little area where the courthouse is, and we sat and would have lunch over and look down in there. Like, if you ever wanted to experience what it must have felt like to be a cowboy, I feel like downtown Prescott is that.
It still has a lot of the same chemistry and atmosphere that it did growing up here, because this is my hometown. I was born and raised in this town, and the courthouse square is iconic. It is awarded as one of the top 10 historic courthouse squares in America. It's a great place when, during the day you get kind of burned out on calls, you need a fresh air. It's a third of a mile circle around it, so we can go out there and take a walk around the square, and everybody's playing in the grass and sitting on the park benches, and it's that Mayberry scenario in its own funny kind of way. Or you can walk across the street to Matt's Saloon or the Palace and have a cocktail and get the Old West feel. We don't do that very often, but wherever.
Yeah, it felt so authentic to me.
Yeah.
When we were up there,
and that's a word for Travis. Authentic.
Yeah, for sure. So do me a favor, Travis. What if you were to look back in your business the last 12 months? Tell me something that you and your team have been doing that's been leading to success for you guys.
I, along with my background and my roots, is the desire to keep things really, really simple. It's easier to execute on that. And I'm going to start kind of at the high level and then dial down.
Right.
And the bottom line is we're showing up. We're showing up. Whether it's people that are showing up in the office every day, which in our world, it's very apparent, the track record and the production of the people that show up every day. That's the start of it. So that foundation has been laid over the years, and then we've had a really good first quarter, and I attribute that to conversations I started having in September last year, because I've lived through the winter season of real estate and the calendar winter of real estate. And I know that there are certain things that can be done to minimize the season. So we start talking about it in September, and this is something that I've historically done with our team for years. But I start pounding the message that it's called a holiday, singular, not plural. It's not the holidays, and it's not a season. There are kind of three different things scattered. People start with Halloween. They decorate and they start to get the candy and get the lethargic energy from extra sugar, and then they're looking up going, well, it's only 3 weeks till Thanksgiving, and then it's only a month till Christmas, and those are just excuses for us to start pumping the brakes. And it's not that I don't allow it, but we discourage people creating a season when there really doesn't need to be one. So those conversations, that's what helps us lay the foundation. And we've historically had good first quarters, and I think a lot of it's because of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not showing up in October, November, and December to find business in October, November, and December.
No.
Right? The business you're working on October, November, December is the business you showed up in July, August, and September to find, right? Like, yeah. If you show up in October, November, December, that's your business for January, February, March.
Absolutely. If you want to take a day off to go skiing in January, February, you can do that because of what you did in September, October, November, not only exercising to get in shape to ski, but to have the business so that you feel good about taking a day off in the middle of the week to go do something fun. So it's the lead measure, lag measure part of our world. And with my time in the business, I just know the habits that people get in because they see everybody else around them doing it. They see people in the real estate business doing it. They see people in the business world doing it because those people are guaranteed a paycheck, even when they take 2 weeks off from Christmas to from Christmas to New Year's. We don't have that luxury. So we've got to create the systems and the habits of our work pattern, our work ethic, our personal standards, so that we can create our own vacation time based on our own efforts, not just a calendar that we can go plug into at our work because they don't need us that week. It's not a luxury we have in real estate.
How do you drive that home? How do you make sure somebody understands that? Or is it inevitable that when somebody gets into real estate, they are going to get on that roller coaster inevitably, or do some people figure it out? And if they figure it out, like, how do you drive it home? I just see it so much.
Yeah. So much of life is a bell curve. You're going to have 20% of the people on one end of the bell curve that are just not going to figure it out. They're going to continue to shoot themselves in the foot. They can hear it time and time again, but they're going to continue to do the things that don't help them in business. You're going to have the 60% in the middle that are willing to hear the message, that want to understand it better. Some of them want to grow and change, but they're at least willing to hear the message and willing to have you help pull them into those habits. You're going to have 20% of the people that you tell them once, they're going to start figure it out. Then you're going to help tell them and reinforce it and learn the next level of the lesson. So we just have to understand the mindset of our people. And there's just sometimes that on that bottom 20%, you're not going to be able to solve their own problems for them.
You know, Bob, this is reminding me of a conversation our friend Clint Swindoll has often with us, where he talks about the oh yeahs, right? That's that top 20%. They're in for anything. They're going to get it. They're going to do it. They're going to have that energy and excitement. You got your okays in the middle, and then you got your oh no's at the bottom. It doesn't matter. Everything's oh no with them. It's all negative. They're not going to get it. They're not going to figure it out. And the big challenge is when you take that 60% that Travis is talking about in the middle, are they getting their influence from the oh no's or the oh yes? Right. And making sure, and one of the things he does really well, I have the pleasure of having gotten to spend a lot of time with Travis. One of the things he does really well is he leads by example, Bob. He's not sitting back saying, oh, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, right? And then taking a week off for the holiday. He's there doing the work and working through and showing everybody, leading by example, therefore taking those okays and getting them to work towards the oh yeahs instead of falling down towards those oh no type personalities.
Travis, can you talk about that for a second, Ben? Talk about how do you lean into the team or get the team to kind of pull people along for the idea of, like, this is a culture where we all show up?
Sure. I think a lot of it is how we treat our business, and I'm going to make a statement, then I'm going to explain it. Do we treat our business with an on-off switch or with a dimmer switch? So when I talk about, and I'll use Christmas as an example, I'm not telling people work till 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve. I'm saying if you're in, you're in. And if you're out, you're out. If you're going to take a week off, hit the off switch. Work up to the point where you leave so that you can hit the off switch and then go spend quality time with your family. But don't treat it like a dimmer switch to where you're like your poster, you're half-assing it up till you leave, and then you feel guilty about leaving. So you've got 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out. And you can't get away from the phone because you didn't do everything you should have done, and you're just not ready. So that's something that I preach. If you're going to take the time, take it. I'm not here to tell you don't do that. I'm here to tell you, if you're here, be committed, show up, work hard, and do everything you can. And then hit the switch and go do something different. But don't treat it like a dimmer switch. So then that conversation, because we have it so often, and this is one of those conversations I'm very comfortable having because I know the difference of the first quarter when you show up and when you don't. So the people in the middle, they get on the bandwagon because it's something that I can talk about with energy. I can talk about with enthusiasm. I can show them examples, and they become much more willing to stay engaged. And they see myself leading by example. They see different people on the team leading by example. So they'd rather keep up with the people that are winning than join the people that are falling behind and aren't winning.
What do you do with those people that are falling behind and not winning? You let them hang out? Like Ben's always had that philosophy, let them hang out, and they ultimately self-select themselves away because I stopped giving them leads. But like, what do you do with them? And maybe particularly, what do you do so that they don't pollute the rest of the people that are showing up and doing the work?
There are life situations where people maybe don't show up like they used to. We've got people with new babies and maternity leave, and I mean, God bless them. That should be their number one priority right now. So that's so totally understandable. There are people in different seasons of their life on our team. We've got a guy that spent a lot of time coaching his boys in baseball, and I did the same thing way too many years ago to count. So I'm not going to hold people to a standard that doesn't match the season that they are at in life. So I'm going to coach them to the season they're at in life and what they're truly committed to. If their actions don't meet the message that they give me, if they don't meet the goals in that, then it's going to show up in the time that I give them for coaching. When they become a cultural issue, if they're vocalizing information and messaging to the team, that's when we're going to have a parting of the ways. If their activity is backing off, we're going to change their lead flow. We're going to move leads away. We're going to kind of take that. That's the stapler we take away, to Ben's old comment. And then they'll self-select.
Did you lose Travis or just me?
Yeah, I lost Travis. I just lost your audio there, man. I don't know if you muted yourself.
I think I did.
There you go.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're back.
There's a mute button right there. I bumped it. So I will select people out who their words and actions start to impact people around them. So it's not a black and white. If you're not doing X number of deals, you're off. Things like that, because everybody has a little bit different goal.
But
Travis,
at the end of the day, you want to protect the culture. And once you see it start to leak into the culture, and then that's when we have to have a discussion. Anytime we can get an office reference on a red stapler, like, let's do it. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate that.
Yes, Travis will throw those at you and people won't even catch them half the time. Travis, I want to ask you a question before we get into maybe even how Brivity works with this, how you're using those tools to help with that discipline and stuff. One of the words I used to describe you at the beginning was authentic. And there are a lot of people who like to throw that word around. And they think it just becomes some catchphrase for some people. You truly are one of the people who I would describe as someone who's authentic. You are who you are. You know who you are. You're going to be true to who you are. There's no question about it. A lot of people in the sales industry put on a uniform, put on a costume or a role to play when they're in sales, or they're faking it till they make it. Talk to me about authenticity and vulnerability, being true to you, and how that has been a benefit to you with your team, with sales, in the business, that everybody could take a lesson from.
It's funny that you mentioned the word that I just wrote down on my notes as I'm sitting here, because I think it was the catchword or the buzzword of coaching, training, growth, and that's vulnerability. Everybody wanted to be vulnerable a couple years ago. That started maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
It's funny. I remember Ben started posting some stuff, and somebody asked him, and he was like, "I don't know. My counselor said I should be more vulnerable." Like, yeah.
Everybody, it became vomiting on social media. So, but I think those things get to be overused. I believe that relationships and the rapport we're building with clients is simply about building trust. And I don't know of an industry that's more humbling than real estate, because you can feel like the absolute ace out of the bullpen 1 minute, and one phone call, you get your teeth kicked in. It's kind of like that reliever that, he's throwing heat. He struck out 2. He's up. He's got a 3-2 count, and somebody hits a home run and wins the game. And he was rolling until that one pitch or that one phone call. Real estate's the same way. So it's pretty easy to stay authentic, because I get my teeth kicked in every day like everybody else does, whether that's by a client. I'm a fairly introspective guy, and I see my mistakes readily every day that I make. So I don't know. It's kind of natural for me. I was raised in an environment where You didn't get too big for your britches was a statement that I heard. And if you did, somebody was going to beat you down either literally or figuratively. And it happened both ways. So I just don't know any other way. And I don't have a good enough memory to remember half of the stories or lies I would have told. So I just keep it real and keep it honest.
Love that. I love that. Okay. You mentioned something from the top.
Mhm.
You said we show up, and then you said we keep it simple.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that philosophy, like, and maybe talk about it particular to finding buyers and sellers to work with? Because I think at the end of the day, like, we show up in real estate, our job is to go find buyers and sellers that need our help. Like, there's a lot of other.
Wait, time out. Bob, say that again, because I believe 90% of real estate agents don't realize that's their job. They think their job is showing houses, writing contracts, being, which isn't their job, because they can't do that if they don't do what their job is. Say again what the job truly is.
Job is to go find buyers, sellers, maybe investors. Travis, as a leader of a team, another aspect of your job is to find agents to bring in to go find buyers and sellers and investors to work with. But essentially, finding your next client is your job as a real estate agent. So what do you guys do that's simple, where you're showing up every day? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
And I'm going to echo what Chad said, because he's the one that really helped me understand this. We were having a recruiting conversation a while back, and he said the challenge is that most people get into this business and don't realize that their number one job is going to be finding clients. And until people can reconcile that, they're going to find ways to ignore that fact. And it is a fact. So the way we try to keep it simple is I look at Brivity, which is our CRM, as a personal assistant for every one of our agents. It's just that simple. It's that person that that thing that when you get up in the morning, it can tell you what you need to do to be successful. It can tell you who you need to call to be successful. It can tell you what order you need to do it to be successful. So the simplicity is in just using the tools that we have. So I'm a huge proponent of day in life in the Brivity database. I'm a huge proponent of using tasks in there to give you that list of things to do every day, using the priorities of those tasks if you need to make sure that you don't forget to call somebody. Excuse me. Those simple things, because I'm trying to get to a paperless world, but my desk there's way too many papers to remember all the little details. So I've got to put them somewhere to where it's concise, it's consolidated, it's consistent, and it's reliable. It's that one thing that I know that whether I'm on my phone, on Brivity Go, or going to the desktop, there is something there to eliminate decision fatigue, to help me create habits, to help me create a system and a flow to my day. And it's all right there. It's just that simple. And when we overcomplicate it, it gives us, then we can start hiding behind excuses.
It is really, I don't know. It is simple. It's not easy, Travis, right? Because I could go golfing. like as a real estate agent, I don't have to come into the office today.
Oh, it's beautiful. I could go walk around the square that I told you about earlier. I could go.
I could be playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Or eating Jell-O.
Yeah. Chris Suarez told me something like 18 months or 2 years ago that resonates. And I talked to my team have heard this probably at least once a quarter, if not once a month. There's three things that he has seen that is the roadmap for success in real estate. And it's real simple. He said the first thing is you get really good at real estate conversations. That's when you script to a point where it no longer sounds scripted. It's just how you converse, how you talk about real estate, whether you're meeting somebody in the line at the grocery store, whether you're meeting somebody at an open house, whether you're meeting somebody on the phone, but you get really good at real estate conversations. Number two is you master the tools. In our world, it's the buyer guide, it's the seller guide, it's your CRM. When you master that, there are so many tools there. And number three, and I think this is one of the most, the piece that everybody overlooks, is you show up every day like you have a job and you stay until the work's done. That's the piece that's the differentiator.
Okay, let's talk about that piece for a second. And first, before I ask you what I want to ask you about stay until the work is done, folks, if you're on this call, it's probably because you're using Brivity as your CRM. I'm going to bet, though, you're probably only using 20% of what it can do. Right. And there's so much more to it. And it's the people who are using, I don't know how many times I get the opportunity to have an introductory call with someone about coaching or talk with someone about coaching, and I'll ask them what CRM they're using. They won't even know the answer, much less how it works. So first of all, folks, figure out how the tools you have work. That was one of the things that Travis was giving you there in that list. Here's the one, though, Travis. You said show up. And I think a lot of people are okay with showing up. You said stay until the work is done. How do I know the work is done? Because in real estate, there really isn't the 5 o'clock whistle went, or, this pile got moved there. How do I know when the work is done and I'm able to now flip that switch, as you said, and said, okay, the day is over for me?
Yeah. There's crazy things about our industry that are an art rather than a science. But one thing that is a science that we know is the lead and the lag indicators of our phone calls, of our activities. Is it the number of open houses you're doing? Is it the number of phone calls you're making? The number of contacts that you're having? Is it the number of appointments you're setting? Is it the number of appointments that you're holding? Is it the number of contracts that you're signing and the deals that you're closing? That is a math equation. Now, occasionally you have to adjust some of the variables in that equation because things change. You transition from a buyer market to a seller market, from a seller market to a buyer market. You transition from the hot market of 21, where everybody could get financed, that rates were low, that everybody was buying, to the less fun markets of right now, of 24. So you change the variables, but you have to stay plugged into the equation. And when you do that, then you know when you're done. You can look at your dashboard and say, I committed to myself to make 100 calls today. 98, I'm not done. 50, I'm darn sure not done. But what metrics are you committing to? And that's a conversation with yourself, with a coach, with the dashboard that can help you back into all that. So that's what helps you know. Is you guys know, in a place world right now, we're in the middle of big challenges. When you look at 50 open houses, it's pretty easy to figure out how many you have to do every week. So you can know when you're done. Just pick the end. What day ends your week? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday? Is it Sunday? And then just figure out, okay, this is what the numbers look like. If I'm going to make 5,000 dials, 2,500 on Brivity, 2,500 on a dialer. Okay, these are how many I have to make every week. This is how many I need to make every day. And then just follow the equation.
You're sitting here, you're saying, I 100% agree, by the way, with Chris's, assertion of this is how you go build a big real estate business. You get good, you master the conversations, you master the tools you're using, and then you show up every day like you have a job and you stay there until you finish. Like, that is spot on. My brain immediately goes to, like, if that is what it takes to be successful at real estate, like, if you're listening to this, what percentage of your day is that? And by the way, when you say show up like you have a job, to me, that's show up to prospect to find your next buyers and sellers. That's not show up to manage the business that you found last month or the month before or the month before that, right? Because your job is actually to go find new buyers and sellers. And Travis, on a team, the management of those buyers and sellers actually gets kind of dispersed out amongst the people on the team, right? I'm not 100% responsible, especially once I get them under contract. Travis, on your team, what percentage of your day is spent doing these things? Because I do get that you do have to maintain the business, but most people are spending 80, 95, 99% of the time maintaining the business and very little of the time mastering their tools, getting better at their conversations, or showing up to go prospect to find another deal. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like, nope, all agents are doing this all the time.
No, it's a very small percentage, and it still boils down to it's somewhere between 2 and 4 hours a day. There's not a magic number. Some people dial faster. Some people are better at conversations. Some people have transitioned from starting a business where they're still prospecting, very prospecting based, to people who are 2 or 3 or 4 years into the business, 50, 60, 70 deals under their belt. Now, more and more of their conversations are with Sphere and past client. Those conversations take longer, but they can be more fruitful. So it's hard to say it has to be this number of calls, it has to be this number of hours, because that time in business can make a difference. As long as I've been in the business, call nights for me, when the team's making 50 calls, if I can get through 10, I'm lucky, because my conversations take a long time. With certain, if I'm calling into my Sphere and my past clients, because I've got past clients that I've got 20 years and 10 transactions of history with.
Yeah.
I've been there since their kid, who's now in college, was playing t-ball. So you've got to understand where you're at in the evolution of your business, and it's going to look a little bit different. But the bottom line is the activities are still the same type of activities. You're just going to have a little bit different content to many of those.
Gentlemen, I can sit here for hours and talk real estate. We haven't even got into rodeo yet. We should do some of that next time we see you, Travis Barton.
Or the Seahawks. We haven't started Seahawks talking
right.
yet.
That's right. Okay. Hey, man, appreciate you joining us today. Thank you. Get back to your business and your clients and your team there down in Prescott, Arizona. Just always an honor and a pleasure to have you on, Travis. Thanks, bud. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you guys have a great rest of your week in real estate, Chad. I'll see you next week, my friend. Bye, everybody.